Hey everyone, Dave here with another Blu-ray DVD collection update / haul video. This is another for the months of December 22, January 23. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at some recent releases from Umbrella Entertainment. Quite a bit to take a look at here, so let's get into it. Alright, so as I said at the top of this, we're going to be taking a look at some recent releases from Umbrella Entertainment. Now, these are, I think, like October, November titles. There are some more recent titles as well, which I haven't got my hands on just yet. I'm waiting for them to come through, and then I'll review them in the next video, which will be in about a month or so. But some really great stuff to take a look at here, so let's get into it. First up, we'll take a look at the latest Beyond Genres release, which is Sons of Steel, the nuttiest, wildest, most utterly insane science fiction, time-travelling, rock, opera, eco-terrorist action film Australia has ever produced. World-famous hair metal impresario and eco-warrior Black Alice is imprisoned in a stasis hologram by the dictatorial leaders of Oceania, the corporate entity that now rules what was once Australia. Trapped in an endless slumber for eons until he is accidentally freed by two barbarian warriors who patrol a vast wasteland, Black Alice learns that the home he once knew was destroyed by an adrift nuclear sub that floated into Sydney Harbour. Determined to undo the sins of the past, Black Alice must travel back in time to stop evil scientist and corporate stooge Sector from destroying everything and everyone he holds dear. This special edition is housed inside a slipcover, as all the Beyond Genres releases are, and also includes the original soundtrack of the film on a second disc, and a booklet featuring an excerpt from the first chapter of the brand new Sons of Steel novel series. It is complemented by a bunch of archival bonus features, as well as an alternate open gate presentation of the feature film. Sons of Steel is one of the weirdest, wildest Australian movies ever made. It's one that I had never even heard of until now. It's in fact one that would certainly feel at home with the Oddsportations range, but because this is such a genre piece, Umbrella have decided to release this under the Beyond Genres label. For me personally, it's not a great movie. It's not like the kind of movie that I would usually really love. It certainly is a cult film, a genre film that a certain subset of fans out there will really gravitate towards. It's certainly built kind of in the mold of Mad Max. There were a lot of Australian films in that era, just after Mad Max sort of became big. In fact, a lot of Hollywood movies as well, that really took that kind of grungy, outback sort of dystopian setting and kind of ran wild with it. And this movie is probably the wildest one of these kind of Mad Max sort of, follow-ups really went. This has been newly remastered in HD from original film elements, and that remaster was overseen by the film's director. It looks fantastic. Again, Umbrella releases of Australian movies are the absolute best. They always put the best effort into these, and it's really great to see such a weird curio of Australian cinema getting a really fantastic release like this. And again, applauding the great team at Umbrella for putting together such a great special edition set like this. Next up, we have got number 19 in the Oddsportation Classics series, Midnight Spares. Set against a background of high-risk sprint car driving, Midnight Spares tells the action-packed story of a motley team of grease monkeys and speedway freaks who take on a massive car stealing and stripping racket in the west of Sydney. They quickly discover that they're not only battling a tough and highly organised auto crime cartel, but also the bent cops who protect the cop shop. Much like a number of the more recent Beyond Genres releases, this one comes accompanied by a special edition comic version of the film. If you are looking for the ultimate Oddsportation classic, you should not look any further than Midnight Spares. This movie encapsulates absolutely everything that the Oddsportation genre is all about. Car chases, explosions, ochre, Aussie, wacky characters, nudity, sexuality, absolutely everything is bundled into this absolutely wild ride of a film. Again, I'm not always huge on these genre pieces. Some of these Oddsportation movies are hit and miss for me, but I really love this one. This one is just so much fun, and I think it really gets to the heart of the Aussie spirit, particularly in the era that this film was made. Of course, this movie stars Bruce Spence, and Bruce Spence always delivers really terrific performances, especially in these kind of weird and wacky movies. He was in Mad Max as well, and, you know, crazy character, very similar to what he does here. Of course, as always, the remaster or the transfer that's being used on this disc right here is absolutely first class. It looks stunning. It looks so much better than any of these Oddsportation movies probably ever should have looked. If you're being somewhat selective with your Oddsportation collection, I would certainly recommend grabbing this one. It is a must get. And thanks again to Umbrella for sending over their limited collector's edition of this, which also included a couple of big movie posters, some lobby cards, and a couple of other little trinkets in there as well. Absolutely love this. This special edition is currently sold out, but Umbrella is doing a whole bunch of special editions like this for lots of their releases lately, so make sure to head over to their website and check out what they have available for upcoming releases. Next up, we have number 20 in the Oddsportation Classics line, which is a double drive-in shockfest. Inn of the Damned plus Night of Fear. Two films from Oddsportation auteur Terry Burke. Night of Fear. In this groundbreaking homegrown creep fest, a deranged reclusive hermit delights in dismembering unwary travellers and keeping company with a colony of rats fed on blood. When a young woman crashes into one of the madman's ghoulish road traps, so begins an unrelenting avalanche of terror. Inn of the Damned. On a lonely stretch of road deep in an isolated rainforest lies an eerie forgotten inn. Few travellers stop there now, and those that do disappear. Okay, so as I said, some of these Oddsportation films are a little bit hit and miss for me. These two here are not particularly ones that I'm really, you know, in the kind of wheelhouse of. These are both sort of Oddsportation horror flicks, really gruesome, kind of schlock horror, gore, blood, guts, all that kind of stuff. I had a quick flick through them, I'm gonna be honest, I could not sit through these like overly violent horror things. I just can't do. My stomach cannot handle it, but I did have to have a look at this and of course get this in my Oddsportation collection. These both look terrific. These have both been newly remastered from the original 35mm vault elements, as Umbrella says, and again, Umbrella remasters are first class and these movies look terrific. There's nothing better than a great 35mm, grungy 35mm film put into HD. These look absolutely stunning. Once again, thanks to Umbrella for sending over the special edition of this, which included a double-sided poster. On the Oddsportation route, we also have a trio of classic American horror movies which have been released in Oddsportation variant slipcovers under the branding Day of the Dead. I'll let Umbrella's press release describe these best. In an homage to Oddsportation, this Halloween we've revamped 3 horror classics with Day of the Dead Oddsportation variants. Featuring all new custom art, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre has been styled as Weekend Fright, Hellraiser styled as Turkey Shoot, and Day of the Dead styled as Crocodile Dundee. The great thing about these is that Umbrella allowed you to either buy them individually with the slipcovers, they allowed you to buy them in a bundle with the slipcovers, or allowed you to just buy the slipcovers separately. Of course, all these really are reissues of movies that Umbrella has released on Blu-ray previously. Under the slipcovers is just the original release of the disc with the slipcover on top. Umbrella, of course, gave the really terrific option to just buy the slipcovers if you already own the movie. I wish more distributors did that. I really love these 3 releases right here. In fact, I didn't own any of these movies, so it was really cool for Umbrella to send these over, get them into my collection. I love these Day of the Dead slipcovers, and I'm so excited to see if they do more of these. These were, of course, timed for Halloween, and I believe they were only available throughout the Halloween season. Of course, I did advertise these on social media. It's a little bit late for me to get to them now. Unfortunately, I think they are all out of stock, but I'm keen to see if Umbrella does any more of these down the line. I think they're all very popular. We've got another couple of Aussie films to take a look at here, so let's look at them. Firstly, we've got the 21st installment in the Sunburnt Screens collection, Spotswood, starring Anthony Hopkins, Ben Mendelsohn, Toni Collette, and Russell Crowe. When a consultant is hired to boost a factory's profits, economic theory collides with shop floor reality to create a deliciously dry social satire in this Ealing-esque comedy. This new special edition comes with a second disc featuring the film's original score, and the disc also presents the alternate American cut of the movie called The Efficiency Expert. Sunburnt screens is continually my favourite line that Umbrella keeps putting out, and I've absolutely loved pretty much every movie that's been released in this collection. I'm absolutely passionate about Aussie cinema, particularly the more well-known stuff, the more like kind of marketable theatrical stuff. I do have a bit of a soft spot for the Oddsportation movies and all of that, and I've loved a lot of them, but it's this sunburnt screen stuff, the movies that have been really important to the history of Australian cinema on a more kind of commercial level, as this one right here. Spotswood is a movie I've wanted to see for so long. It is a classic of Australian cinema that dragged Anthony Hopkins out this way to make a movie, and again, as I mentioned, this was released in America under the title The Efficiency Expert, where it did very, very well over there as well. So very, very happy to finally get this one on Blu-ray and into my collection. Now this one has a brand new remaster as well. It's been remastered from the original film elements in 4K, received a new 4K scan, and it looks great. It's not the best looking movie, and I think the kind of the original elements probably aren't in the best condition, but it pulls up looking probably as best as it can. And this, again, Umbrella's unwavering devotion to Aussie cinema and preserving it in this way is why I love them so, so much, and I continue to love this line. Overall, really, really love this one, and if you are collecting the sunburnt screens, or, you know, you're a little bit picky about which ones you're picking up, this one is a must-buy. We also have The Possessed. This is a recent Chris Sun horror film from 2021, starring John Jarratt and Lincoln Lewis, and supposedly inspired by actual events. Jacob Chandler is just an ordinary man with an extraordinary gift, the epitomes of the accidental exorcist. Jacob and his nephew Liam have forged a career clearing demons from the bodies of their clients. Of late, something has changed as possessions increase and Jacob fights to keep those he loves safe. When his path crosses with Liam's new girlfriend, he recognises something in her dark, broken gaze. She too can see the damned. Jacob never expected to meet anyone else like him, nor did he anticipate needing her help. Another thing I love about Umbrella is not just their commitment to classic Aussie cinema and remastering it and getting it out on physical home media and all that kind of stuff, but I love their support of modern Australian cinema. A lot of stuff which probably would not get releases without an independent boutique label like themselves. This is an independent Oz horror film from independent filmmaker Chris Sun, who's kind of carved himself a little corner in the Oz horror world. He's directed stuff like Charlie's Farm, Boar, Possessed, again, really not my kind of movie. I didn't really love it. It is very cheesy. It feels like very independent. It feels like a very, very cheap movie, but these are the kinds of things I think Sun is going for with his movies. They are very much built out of the mold of classic Oddsportation and classic Oz horror, like the movies we've spoken about earlier, and I think he really achieves everything that he sets out to do with these movies, and for that I really appreciate him and really admire him as a filmmaker working in the Australian film space. And more independent cinema is what I say, because here in Australia, getting a film made is not easy. Getting anything made is not easy. We don't have the, endless number of kind of film commissions and, lotteries and independent houses that are willing to fork out money to either make or distribute films. So getting one made is really quite an achievement, and you gotta give that to Sun. Again, you gotta give it to Umbrella for being able to, get stuff like this out to us, not just on the big screen, but on physical media. If you love your Oz horror, if you love these kind of exploitation-y Aussie films, definitely jump onto this one. Next up, we have the 10th and sadly final installment in Umbrella's world cinema line. This one is Alejandro G. Iñárritu's Amores Perros. In his blistering feature film debut, Iñárritu delves into the brutal backstreets of an ever-evolving Mexico City as the lives of three strangers interconnect in unforeseen ways after a car crash alters each of their futures in a different, often tragic way. Now this one's really disappointing because, as I said, this is the final installment in Umbrella's World Cinema range. I was really hoping that this line could continue on because they have been getting out some really great world cinema in this line, some really great foreign stuff that I'd either never seen and really wanted to see before, stuff that I'd never heard of before. You know, and I always find this the best way to kind of explore these foreign films and stuff is through these little collections like this. I spoke to Umbrella about this, about why they're ending the line so soon, and they basically just told me this is a line that's not moving units. Unfortunately, in the, you know, Australian home media space, there's just not a huge market for foreign film. Umbrella have said that they will continue to release foreign films on home media, but this is just a line that's not working out for them, which is very, very sad because, again, as I said, I really, really did love this line. Amores Perros is one, unfortunately, I did not get around to watching this, but I'm really, really, really keen to take a look at. Inarito is a filmmaker who I am a little bit hot and cold on. I've either really loved what I saw of his The Revenant or really, really disliked some of his other stuff, like Birdman. I fell asleep in Birdman, really didn't enjoy that. But by all accounts, this is apparently a terrific movie and it looks and sounds really great. And I always love going back to, you know, acclaimed filmmakers' debut films and checking them out and see where they came from. And I'm just really, really excited to take a look at this. I did take a quick look at the disc, and the transfer used here is absolutely beautiful, as is always the case with Umbrella. I will jump into this movie as soon as I can, but I did want to spotlight it in this video right here to get you out there and support this line. Hopefully we can get some more of these in the future. I'd love more of these. Next up, we've got a release of 1984 cult film Cloak and Dagger. From the director and writer of Psycho 2 comes this beloved 80s edge-of-the-seat adventure thriller. 11-year-old Davy Osborne, played by E.T.'s Henry Thomas, loves playing video games and acting out top-secret missions. But the spy game quickly turns from fantasy to reality when he stumbles into a real-life adventure involving agents trying to sneak military secrets out of the country concealed in a video game cartridge. With professional hitmen moving in and everyone thinking he's still game-playing, Davy enlists the aid of his best friend, an imaginary super spy named Jack Flack, to help him survive the high-stakes action and real bullets. This brand new special edition comes in an Anaglyph 3D slipcover and also comes with a pair of Anaglyph 3D glasses so you can view the case. Absolutely love that touch. It also includes a booklet with writings on the film. It's also bolstered with a whole new dossier of bonus features, including a film introduction, behind-the-scenes footage, archival TV interviews and making-of featurettes, a brand new audio commentary with writer Tom Holland moderated by filmmaker Joe Lynch, and much, much more. Now, these are also movies that I love Umbrella getting out there as well. These kind of quick burst, single release titles that aren't really under any kind of banner, but is kind of, you know, in the same kind of subset of the stuff that they usually release. This is a cult family classic from the middle 1980s, one that I've only heard of over the years, but never got around to seeing. It's not one that went on to be like an absolute classic like E.T. or The Goonies or, you know, any of those Spielberg, Amblin kind of movies. This movie does really feel in line with those kind of Amblin films from the 1980s, you know, this era, or even the Disney movies that were coming out around this time, a lot of like the kind of sci-fi kind of stuff. Talk about movies almost like, you know, Flight of the Navigator, Short Circuit, Batteries Not Included, all these kinds of things. And I feel like these later movies that I've just mentioned, this didn't go on to be an absolute classic. It became kind of a cult classic. It's been very hard to get your hands on this movie for a very, very, very long time. So it's great that Umbrella has got it out on the market here in HD. Really, really nice transfer, which I believe was probably provided to them by the studio, which is of course Universal. Had a lot of fun with this movie. I love all these great 1980s family flicks. Again, Henry Thomas is great. Once more, he's the kid from E.T. He delivers a really fantastic performance here as well. If you have kids or you're just a kid at heart and you love these kinds of movies, I would highly recommend this one because it is an absolute blast. Once again, thanks to Umbrella for sending me the special collector's edition version of this, which came with a poster, some lobby cards, some other little trinkets, including a little metal army man. Absolutely awesome stuff. Once again, unfortunately, this is sold out, but you can check out Umbrella's website for all the other collector's editions they've got coming up very soon. Next up, we've got a new release of Steven Soderbergh's 1999 film, The Limey. starring Terence Stamp, Peter Fonda, Melissa George, and Luis Guzman. British ex-con Wilson travels to Los Angeles searching for answers surrounding the death of his daughter, Jenny. Written off as an accident by the police, Wilson believes none of it and sets his sights on her one-time paramour, music promoter Terry Valentine, and his skeezy fixer as persons of interest. Propelled on an increasingly brutal search for the truth, Wilson traverses the seedy underbelly of the City of Angels, hell-bent on revenge with the help of ex-jailbird Ed and washed-up actress Elaine. But is Valentine really the man responsible, or is the guilty party hiding closer to home? Umbrella have sent over to me their online web store exclusive limited edition version of the movie, which features a stunning slipcover with original artwork. There were only 250 of these released, and I wound up with number 77. Steven Soderbergh is a filmmaker who I greatly admire, particularly the films that he made in the 1990s. This one, in fact, was released smack bang in the middle of two of my favourite Soderbergh works, Out of Sight and Erin Brockovich. This one couldn't feel any different though. This one actually feels kind of independent in its nature. It has a very strange musical score. It sounds like a very cheap kind of computerized musical score. It's almost filmed like it's been done on a shoestring budget, but it does have a really fantastic heavyweight cast, which I just read out. As you know, I love my film noirs and my thrillers, particularly 90s thrillers, this neo-noir kind of era, so I really did dig this. It really did feel like a kind of English crime thriller, but set in and made in America. Really had a lot of fun with this one. If you can get your hands on it, it definitely is worth a watch. We've also got a new release of Wrong Turn, starring Eliza Dushku. Stalked by cannibalistic inbred mutants in the West Virginia backwoods, a group of friends are picked off one by one in a grand guignol of terror and violence in Rob Schmidt's sadistic rural horror masterpiece. Once again, thanks to Umbrella for sending over the special edition web-exclusive version of this, housed inside a beautiful slipcover with gorgeous new artwork. There were 400 units of this one released, and I got number 219. Wrong Turn is another one of these movies that has had numerous Blu-ray releases. I know it's had at least one, maybe it had 2 Australian releases previously. It's been released overseas ad nauseum. It's a cult horror thriller from the early 2000s, so pretty much every horror fan knows about this, has seen it or owns it, but it's back out here on the market because it has been out of print for a very long time, and horror movies, especially the out of print ones, become highly sought after on Blu-ray once they kind of disappear off the market. This is a movie that I kind of thought I had seen, but I absolutely hadn't. It's a bit of a fun, again, I don't really like my gore kind of horror films, so this one isn't too bad. It is rated MA for medium level violence, and I think it kind of gets away with it kind of being almost like a campy, satirical kind of horror movie on its surface. There's a lot of really gruesome stuff in here though that does make my stomach go a little bit funny, but I did quite enjoy this one. This is one that I could handle. Again, if you're after this one, it is back on the market. If you haven't seen it, you're a fan of your horror, kind of schlock horror stuff, definitely go and pick this one up. And finally from Umbrella, we have the long-awaited local Blu-ray release of Young Guns, starring Emilio Estevez, Kiefer Sutherland, Lou Diamond Phillips, Charlie Sheen, and Dermot Mulroney. John Tunstall, a distinguished British gentleman, employs downtrodden youth to tend his herd on the New Mexican frontier. When Tunstall is gunned down by the crooked Lawrence G. Murphy, his ragtag group of regulators ride forth in search of bloody vengeance for the death of their beloved mentor. Christopher Kane's Young Guns is the movie that made westerns cool again. Young Guns is one of the coolest neo-westerns ever made. This one came out in the late 1980s. It also spawned a sequel, Young Guns 2, which has been available on Blu-ray on the Australian market for a long time. Umbrella released it on Blu-ray a number of years ago. It is actually still also available if you want to go and pick that one up as well. It's one that I never picked up though. I love both of these movies. I have loved these forever. They're movies I watched over and over again as a kid. I love westerns, and I feel like this is one of the movies that really kind of got me interested in the western genre. This is a great action, adventure, epic film with a terrific cast. Again, all people who would go on to be big stars, and it's just a really great Western romp. Of course, Emilio Estevez plays Billy the Kid. You cannot get more classic Western than this one right here. Of course, I never picked up the second one on Blu-ray because I always have this thing where if only the sequel gets released, I won't buy it until I know the first one is getting released. Cannonball Run 2 was another example. Again, Umbrella put that one out years before they finally released Cannonball Run 1. So I never picked up Young Guns 2. I did ask Umbrella if they could send me over a copy of Young Guns 2 so I could spotlight that and show you that it is available, but they said, just hold your horses because we are releasing a double pack later in the year. I have gone on their website. It is actually listed on their website with a September release. I don't think it did release. As far as I'm aware, I don't think it actually did come out. I think a few of their titles have been delayed recently, so I think that might be one that has been delayed. So I am looking forward to getting my hands on that one. I'll have both of the movies in my collection. I can't wait. Young Guns is definitely a movie you got to see, especially if you love these actors. You love a good Western film. Again, this is just a really great, innocent Western flick from a great era of revival for the genre, where a whole bunch of movies like Maverick, Tombstone, Quick and the Dead, Back to the Future 3, Unforgiven, Three Amigos, Silverado, City Slickers, they all came out in this really, really quick succession. Clint Eastwood got back into Westerns and all that stuff, and this movie is one of those seminal films from that period, and it is a must-own if you love Westerns or you just love the stars in the movie. Get onto this one because it's an absolute banger. And with that, that is all the titles we're going to spotlight in this video right here. I do have some more Umbrella stuff on the way, which I cannot wait for. I'll be spotlighting them in an upcoming video, probably in about a month's time. Thanks again to the incredible team at Umbrella for sending over all these great titles, and particularly for sending over the limited collectors special edition titles. They are just so cool. I love all the posters, I love all the trinkets and stuff. Just keep sending them over. Thanks so much, and thanks everybody out there for watching. I'll see you on the next one, but until then, take it easy. I'll see you then.